On the air.
Hey, Ed, Joe Addabbo here.
Oh, Joe Addabbo, my good friend
Welcome
Joe Addabbo.
back,
How are you,
Ed.
sir?
Welcome back, Ed.
Thank you, brother. How you been?
Everything is good. Keeping busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything is good. I know my good friend Mike Miller, called earlier, and it's always a pleasure working with Mike up in Albany. So, but yeah, everything is good. And I just want to say thanks. Whether it be a DEP issue or a DOT issue, any issue really for Woodhaven, you're on it. You're helping the people there, and I just want to say thanks.
Great. Thanks, Joe. I appreciate it. I appreciate your kind words, and always good talking and dealing with you. And and listen, thank you for the hard work you did. Listen, you were faced with a disaster, a natural disaster, and a lot of people were down there, and I saw firsthand what you guys were dealing with, and to see you out there every day, side by side with your neighbors, and what you guys were dealing with down there was just tremendous, and you did a great job leading the folks and helping them, and it was really good to see.
I appreciate that, but your listeners should also know that you had made a number of trips to the site by my Howard Beach office, dropping off clothes and all the other supplies that we needed to help others. So you were part of that effort, and I appreciate that, and I really thank you so much. Hurricane Sandy was a time when ordinary people stepped forward and became extraordinary people, and certainly, you fall into that category. I still have residents in Howard Beach and Broad Channel and Rockaway still suffering. We still have roughly 6,000 people in Rockaway without power, and that's, months after Hurricane Sandy. So, yeah, it's an issue that we still deal with on a daily basis, but, certainly lives were helped during their most severe time of need by people like yourself. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. So now, how are things, down in that area, down by your office, that area? How are things? How's the recovery coming along?
My Howard Beach office has been rebuilt, so we're back to normal. But that it's more than I can say for many of my constituents in that area of Howard Beach. Some of which are still not back in their home. Still, some have foundation problems and homes that need desperate repair. We constantly deal with the city rapid repair and FEMA and SBA and trying to get the people as much assistance as possible. We have the federal dollars, roughly $30 billion or so, coming to our state, and we're trying to impress upon the governor the right way to allocate these monies, get it directly to the people and the businesses that need it with no conditions asked, get it to even the religious institutions whose churches and synagogues and other places of worship open their doors to the community every time we ask for a civic meeting or a community meeting. And they should be remembered when we're looking to help with these federal dollars. Nonprofits, this is where the money needs to go, to people who really need it. And hopefully we can do that. And like I said, just find ways to help people who need to be assisted at this time.
Now, it's easy to forget it for a lot of people as time goes on. I mean, that's why I ask. I mean, in that area, you say there's a lot of people not back in their homes. I mean, all the homes down there, are there still people? Are there people living in them? Are they living without heat? How are they surviving?
No, there are people who are back in their homes. We have people who said, they don't want to deal with a basement anymore and the flooding. There are people in Howard Beach who have sealed up their basements, totally sealed up. They gave up the square footage. They don't want, basements flooding anymore. There are people calling me who are interested about the governor's buyout program that he proposed. But for the most part, we always look for a sign of getting back to normal, pre-Hurricane Sandy. And so when you see a small deli open up again, or you see a laundromat open up again, it's very reassuring that we're getting back to that point. So that's why it's important that we help these businesses who employ the local people. Don't forget, we have people who lost their job as well as their home in that area. So, we always look to make a little progress each and every day.
Well, now this is, 2 years in a row, this area was belted, by storms. how much of a concern is it that, like you said, people are looking to be bought out? How much of a concern is it that this can happen again? And I guess what kind of ideas are being floated around to try and I mean, you can't prevent Mother Nature from doing tremendous damage, but you can, like you said, people are filling up their basements. What other efforts can we make? What other things can we do?
Well, you make a great point, Ed. These are the same residents who are just getting back on their feet after Hurricane Irene in 2011, and then a year later they get hit with Superstorm Sandy. And so, therefore, they've been hit a couple of times, and we know this is not the last storm. There's going to be another one. We're hopeful it's not for the next 30 years, but who knows? These are people who will consider moving, but I'll tell you now, the vast majority of my residents, Howard Beach, Broad Channel, Rockaway, they're not moving. They don't care about the governor's proposal or how much money they're offering. They're staying. And these are people who have been there for generations, or these are people who just said, this is my home, and I'm not leaving. And, we're going to have to work with those residents. Now, when the new flood maps came out, these residents were informed that should these maps be approved, they may have to elevate their home 10 feet or 8 feet. If not, they face higher much higher flood insurance premiums. So these residents have to make an educated decision at this point. But nevertheless, they have to have the information, certainly from us elected officials and from our government, and they have to have some type of assistance as well from our government. That's where this, $30 billion comes in. So, we have a lot of work to do yet still.
Now, I'm a little, ignorant on some of this stuff, but a lot of houses that I see. I mean, I see houses that look like they have brick foundations or whatever. Or how do you elevate them 10 feet? What do you do? How do you actually do that?
It is actually a process. Many of the homes in Broad Channel, Howard Beach, parts of Rockaway, they're not much brick and mortar. They're basically wood shingle. Those are easy to lift. But houses can be from the foundation elevated. It's costly, though, and many of my constituents don't have the financial ability to do that. So we have many details to work out as far as if a person chooses to stay and elevate, what kind of financial assistance might there be, and if they choose not to elevate, what kind of flood insurance premiums are we talking about? But it is, according to some of the engineers and architects I've spoken to, it is conceivable to elevate a house 8 to 10 feet.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's fascinating. Yeah, that's fascinating.
Really
I can't imagine that, but yeah, I guess, it happens. Listen, I know we have a house on our corner here by us that used to be 4 or 5 blocks away. And, what the owner had told me, in the early 1900s, it was lifted up and put on wheels and moved across town.
Yeah,
so
they've done it to businesses. They've done it to businesses, taking diners out of Manhattan and putting them in some rural place in Midwest. I mean, it's amazing what they can do. But this is what I guess the larger government, the federal government, is looking at, because they're tired of paying out, I suppose, on these waterfront properties. The idea the proposal from Governor Cuomo to buy out houses along the shore or near the water and buy out those homes and tear them down and make it a marshland or a park. That's really thinking out of the box, and it's a major step that's being noticed nationally. But there's a lot of moving parts here, I mean, the city's going to lose a lot of revenue once that house is no longer there and the city's not collecting on the taxes. How much money will it take to buy up some of these, wealthier, higher-priced homes? So there's a lot of moving parts. There's so much information that has yet to go down to the public level so that a resident can make an educated decision whether to stay or whether to move. But that's the idea. Let's get as much information as we can to the residents and let them make that educated decision.
Well, that's something. Well, listen, Joe, I want to offer you and Mike. And I should offer, because both of you guys have won your election since we last spoke on the air here. So we're looking forward to working with you for how long is your term?
2 years. Goes quick.
Keeps
me on my toes. Yeah, it keeps me on my toes.
Holy smokes. You guys are always having to. So You're always having to sing for your supper then. That's tough. That's,
this is true.
But you're right. Keep on your toes. Well, listen, I want to congratulate you and wish you the best of luck and thank you for all your hard work.
It's a real pleasure working with you, Ed, on behalf of the residents in Woodhaven. Again, thank you so much for all that you do.
Brother. Thanks a lot, man.
Be well, Ed. Take care.
Take care.
All right.
That's our good friend, State Senator Joe Addabbo. And both Joe and our friend Assemblyman Mike Miller, graduates of Archbishop Malloy, where I went to high school. Actually, was in the same class freshman year with Joe Addabbo.